Okay. I think we'll dip now into the NL division winners and wild cards. Vince, you want to start off with the NL East?
All right.
We all know who you're gonna pick.
Yeah, I'm taking the Braves this year. I mean, they led the division from Memorial Day to Labor Day last year. Chipper Jones got hurt, Martin Prado got hurt, and that's where the wheels fell off. Not that I expect Chipper to play 155 games this year. I expect him to play 135 to 140. But as long as he's there the whole year, Dan Uggla is a big improvement. That might be the bat that the Braves needed. I still think we need one more, but you never know. Freddie Freeman is going to be a big-time player this year. Major improvement over Troy Glaus. Troy Glaus is he's garbage. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So Freddie Freeman's going to put up pretty good numbers, I think. Jason Hayward is going to make another jump. The pitching is really good too. You can say that the Phillies have by far the best rotation, whatever. I'll take Hudson, Hanson, Jurgens, and Derek Lowe against the Phillies 4 and have a much better offense, and that's what I think is going to win the division.
I think I smell a little Vince bias here. I think that the Phillies are going to win the division. It's going to be a two-team race, obviously, between the Phillies and the Braves. There's no question that the Braves are the most improved team in that division. However, you've got Cliff Lee, Roy Halladay, the front of a rotation, probably the two best pitchers in baseball right now, at the top of one team's rotation. So you just can't discount them. I know that you could worry about the back end of their bullpen, and you could worry about just Chase Utley. I mean, you could worry mostly about the offense because Chase Utley might not be in there, and Rollins has had his own injuries. But they've won it without them in the last few years. I mean, they've gotten over the humps that they need to get over to win those divisions. They win the division, and it doesn't matter who leads in between the lines. It matters who leads at the end.
Yeah. And
so,
like I said, Chipper going down was the reason we lost that division. It wouldn't have happened, if that didn't happen. I just don't think the Phillies have the offense. I think Chase Utley is going to be out a lot. I think this injury is worse than they're leading on. Because when you're not playing, you're not on the field, there's something wrong. He can take all the batting practice he wants, but he's not sliding. He's not turning. He's not turning to get a ground ball at the middle. You never know what could happen with him. And then Jason Worth's gone too. So you took a 3-man offense and made a 1-man offense. So I think and Ryan Howard is going to strike out too. He's going to have his cold spells too. So I just don't think they have the offense.
You can't discount Dominic Brown. He's not a replacement for Worth. He might be hurt for the near future. He's not out for the entire season. He's out a few weeks, isn't he? So I mean, you can last a few weeks without a right fielder at Citizens Bank Ballpark. I'm sure they have a few good replacements. But I do see the Phillies winning that division. I know the Braves are going to be right in that until the end, but I don't see them overcoming the huge pitching disparity. And it is a huge pitching disparity. Hanson's got potential, but he didn't have a good season last season.
All right. We could talk about this all day, but we're going to move on to the NL Central. I like the Brewers this year. The Cardinals, I'm just not too enthused with them having Carpenter and Pujols and nothing else. Matt Holliday as well, but I just don't see those three guys pulling that team through. The Reds, I just don't see it again. I think everything had to go well for them last year, ever since that fight for them to win that division. I don't see it happening this year. The Brewers now have 3 very good pitchers. It used to be just their number one guy, Ivan Gallardo, when he was 22 years old and nothing else. Now they have Markham, they have Greinke. Greinke won a Cy Young 2 years ago. Markham's a very good pitcher. I think the Brewers plus Prince and Ryan Braun, who I'm going to talk about a little bit later. I think that's the team to beat in that division.
Yeah, that's an interesting pick, and I do like the Brewers. I mean, getting Greinke was huge, and Markham is going to be one of the most underrated acquisitions of this offseason. I like the Reds though, and the reason I like the Reds is they're good young players, mostly good young position players. You still have Aroldis Chapman, and you still have Joey Votto, who was the NL MVP last year. Probably the most discounted NL MVP I've seen in years. I don't hear a lot of people talking about him this preseason. But I see the Reds doing it again. Some of their pitching you could say is suspect. I mean, like Bronson Arroyo. You don't expect Bronson Arroyo to come out every year and do that. But I just don't see the Brewers taking over where the Reds have established themselves.
Yeah, I mean, this division, you're talking about 90% of the time, 85 to 90 wins winning the division. I think, that's not a hard number to get to. I don't think the Reds are going to win any more than 90 games. I don't think the Brewers are going to win any more than 90 games. So it just comes down to, the Reds pitching. I think they're making a mistake with Chapman, having him pitch the 7th or the 8th inning. I think he's got to be your 9th inning guy. I know that they don't want him to burn out like Joel Zumai did, throwing 104 miles an hour, but you can't have him not have a role. You can't do that. I think that's maybe your best player, even though he's a reliever, because we haven't really seen a left-hander that can throw 104, 105 miles an hour before.
I hate to say it, and I think you're right about Chapman. They have like the Jabba syndrome, what the Yankees tried to baby him through the whole thing and completely ruined his consciousness. I mean, he didn't have the raw skill that Chapman has, but it's the same syndrome that people just don't seem to understand how to deal with talent. Just throw him out there, let him pitch, just throw him right into the fire and see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm sure the guy can come out on the right side.
I think one thing is the difference between Chapman and Jabba. Jabba's a big guy. I think he can handle that. Chapman's, he's really lanky, he's really skinny. I just think that's what they're concerned about, but I just don't agree with it. I think they'd be much better if they just, said, okay, you're our closer. I don't even remember who their closer is anyway right now. Cordero, I don't know.
Well, it's a bad sign, isn't it?
Whatever. Yeah, Chapman needs to be your closer. Hopefully the Reds management's watching this. I doubt it, but let's hope so. Okay, next we're going to go to the NL West. I'm going to pick the Giants just because I don't see any way anyone else is contending. The Padres were really shocking last year that they contended with Adrian Gonzalez, Matt Latos, and honestly, I couldn't even tell you any of their other position players last year because there's guys like Will Venable. I don't see it this year. I'm glad I actually remembered one name. But the Dodgers don't see it. They have some pitching, but they don't have enough. The Rockies, you never know, but I don't see it. I just think the Giants are going to win this division by default.
You have to pick the World Series champions here. The problem with me having so much confidence in that pick is just I can't see them hitting like they did last year or last postseason. I mean, they didn't hit last year. Let's be real, they didn't.
Yeah.
They pitched their way to the World Series and they won it. You have to hope if you're the Giants that Lincecum can have a good season like he's been doing. Last year was probably a down season for Lincecum. You've got Kane and Sanchez. Sanchez had a 5 ERA last year. Zito's an awful pitcher. I don't know. It's hard to have confidence in any team in the division. I might just go the Colorado Rockies. I might pick them because I love Carlos Gonzalez, and I think he's another next superstar in Major League Baseball. It's solely on that, and they have a good hitting team around him and some good young pitchers, but they've got to be healthy. The pitchers have to be healthy too.
Yeah.
You just wonder.
Yeah. The Rockies, I saw them. I was actually out in Colorado last year for a few days. I saw Carlos Gonzalez. He's an unbelievable player. He'll play left field, he'll play center field, he'll play right field. He's just as good at any of those positions. And they just find a way to win. Like, you look at their pitching, you say they don't have that much pitching. Ubaldo Jimenez won, 2 or 3 games after the All-Star break last year?
Right.
And, I don't know. They could win the division as well. I'm just going to go with the Giants. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Next, we have the wild card. I'm going to pick the Phillies. I hate to do it. I really do. But I don't see anyone else that can win it. the Phillies, unless Chase Utley's hurt and then one of their starters goes down, like Holiday or Lee, which has never happened, at least as far as Holiday is concerned. Lee is possible. He could also have a meltdown. But, besides that, I mean, like, they're going to win at least 90 games. No one in the NL Central is winning 90 games. Of course, you never know. But the West, I mean, I don't see any of those teams winning a lot of games either. I don't know about you, but, I mean, 91 wins is probably getting you the wild card this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of those NL East teams is going to do it.
I have to agree that the NL East is going to win both the wild card and the division for lack of talent in the NL, and it's got to be the Braves. I love what they did this offseason. I love Freddie Freeman coming up. You've got Jason Hayward, who is a superstar and will be a superstar. For lack of a better solution, the Braves.
Yeah. It's just like the AL, like. It's going to be one of the Eastern teams. There's just no doubt about it. You just can't see any of these other teams winning enough games. And, we both picked, the opposite teams for the division and picked the other team for the wild card, same as we did last year in the AL, because that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, history shows that that's going to happen.
It's the way it always works.
The Marlins are not – I don't think the Marlins are winning any more than 85 games. So I think it's got to be one of those teams.
Although you're talking about the Marlins, you've got Mike Stanton this year.
I love him.
The guy's incredible. I can't wait to see him play for a full season.
Yeah, I just think the Marlins are too young. They have some very, very good talent. In a couple of years, the Marlins and the Nationals are going to be contending for this division title.
Yes.
And it will be, on the shoulders of Mike Stanton, Logan Morrison, and Gabby Sanchez.
Right.
They traded Dan Uggla away because they didn't want to pay him. And they probably have guys that actually, can fill in there. They traded for Omar Infante, who was an all-star last year.
Mm-hmm.
You got an all-star back for an all-star. That's pretty good. But I think the Marlins are a year away, I think.
I'd have to agree with you.